Hey everyone, welcome back to a pickup video here. Got everything in rough chronological order, so I will go through non-gaming stuff first, then the games. Got quite a bit here. First up, I did take down the names of people who wanted what I had shown before. That got a bit of there was a hitch in the giveaway because you can't see here, but a bunch of this is gone, which included a recliner and some other stuff. That's because a friend of mine who works at he worked at a news station got me a PVM. So he didn't ask for it, but in exchange for it, I gave him some stuff. So there's been a bunch of moving around in this room. You normally only ever see that shelf and that one, but there's a bunch of stuff over here. It's all gone and rearranged so I can make room for it. New power supplies, had to move a little nightstand thing over, just a bunch of stuff. But it's still coming. Some of the stuff that I'm not showing here is actually going to be in the pile because I use it to put together kind of the best versions of a game. And my playable copy is the one I've been using for years. Is going to get added to the pile. So let's get started with the non-gaming stuff because that'll be the quickest. I picked up Suddenly in the Dark. This is a early 1980s or 70s, I want to say early 80s, South Korean horror movie. This woman, it's a bizarre storyline where her husband is a biologist that collects butterflies, so he's always away. And he comes back she says she's 19, she's going to be a maid, and the wife thinks she's a witch. I haven't finished it yet because it's almost 2 hours long, but apparently it quickly goes into a very strange. Let me see if I can do. Can you see the faces? There's about 10 faces in that top screenshot. It quickly goes into a surreal place. So I couldn't find anywhere else to stream it, and I think it was like $15 on Amazon. It was pretty cheap, so I went ahead and just bought it. I don't think you can go wrong with that. Now this, if you don't like pretentious movies, don't bother watching this. But it's the first time I've ever seen it on DVD, and it was released for I think 18. The Begotten. I've only ever seen this on VHS. This is how basic it is. There's nothing on the back. USA 1990, black and white, 70 minutes from Rogue Video. The Begotten is an allegorical film about the creation of the planet and how humans treat it. Now I say that, but when you watch it, it's just crazy. It's black and white. I don't think there's any talking at all, maybe some grunting. This is a pretty famous image. That's what this movie is where that image is from. And it looks like that the whole movie. It's wild. But yeah, if you don't want to sit through just it's a visual barrage. If you don't like that sort of movies, and I can understand why not, do not get this. But if you're in for just a bunch of weird imagery, treat yourself. It's under $20, or it should be still. Get The Begotten. And lastly, I picked up the 4K version of 2001. Whenever my wife asks, do you really need another version of a movie? Yes, I do. I always do. I will always need a new version of a movie. And unsurprisingly, this is absolutely gorgeous in 4K. This came with a bunch of other stuff, like an art book and other versions of the movie. I've only watched the 4K version. I didn't really go through all the extras. I like the movie. Some people don't like 2001. Much like Begotten, it's much more visual. It's got dialogue, but whereas The Begotten has, I think, none, 2001 has minimal. But it's got a much more coherent story than Begotten. But still, some people prefer a bit more fleshed out dialogue and characterization, stuff like that. But everyone does about 2001. On the book side, I picked up a used copy of Myths from Mesopotamia, Creation, the Flood, Gilgamesh, and Others. Oops, that messed up everything. You get the translations of what's available, and historians discuss what the tales are about, and then you get what they have a full translation on in the original text. This is an old Christmas present that just came in. It was shipped from overseas, and I guess it just got stuck in customs. The Seleucid Empire: War Within the Family. I haven't read this yet. I haven't read any of these books yet because I'm reading a story on the Count of Africa, Bonifacius, and I'm reading another book on 5th Century Gaul, Crisis of Identity. So I did do a book video. It ran over half an hour. I wasn't pleased. I junked it, and I just never got around to filming it again. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I do want to talk about the books. I really enjoyed them. I might just try to find that file. I think it's still in the trash bin on this laptop. And Tutankhamun's Armies, Battle and Conquest During Ancient Egypt's Late 18th Dynasty. This is sprung from playing Assassin's Creed Origins, where Akhenhotep the Fourth, I want to say, the heretic pharaoh, he's discussed in this book, and I bought another book on him that I think is an ebook that was cheap. But this talks about him, Akhenhotep the Third, Nefertiti, and their armies and who they battled, things like that. This is a librarian copy. So where'd this come from? Pikes Peak Library. So thank you, Pikes Peak. Now, if you've seen Bubblon's recent pickup video, he grabbed some Game Fans, and I actually grabbed Game Fans from the exact same seller. And here's one of them. This is an oldie. This is Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I got these magazine protectors here. This guy was an unbelievable seller. Not only did he give me, I bought one magazine from him, a Next Generation, and then I saw he had these, so I started buying them, and then I asked for a total. I think this is the Next Generation I bought. I asked for a total, and because I had paid for the Next Generation first, he said, don't worry about shipping. You've already paid for shipping on one, so I'll cover shipping on the rest. And then he tried to give me $5 back. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. This stuff had to have been expensive to ship. And he wanted to give me $5 back. That's the nicest seller you can imagine. So needless to say, I grabbed a lot of them. I'm pretty sure I grabbed a few Bubblon was looking at himself. When we figured out we were buying from the same seller, he had already sold most of his magazines. And I was not shy about digging in because this guy had a bunch of very old Game Fans. He had a few Next Generations and I think maybe a few PC game magazines. Not too many of them though. But yeah, the Game Fans he was selling them for, Bubblon might remember better than me. I think they were like $4 or $5. They were super cheap. So those early editions, because those are from like '93, people sell those for 20 plus, especially the condition they're in. And yeah, he had them for $4 to $7, depending on the year, with free shipping basically. So I don't know how. I guess he just wanted to get rid of them. He was trying to give me the extra $5 back because he said he was happy that I just bought that many magazines from him. And the thing is, I actually threw out a lot of magazines that had silverfish damage. So I have all these, they call them banker boxes, that are perfect for magazines that are empty. So there's one right there. I've taken precautions for the silverfish, hence the bags. And if you want those bags, look on eBay, go to Magazine Protective Bags. There's one seller with these. They work great. They're resealable. Trying to go in chronological order here. So oldest first is a complete copy of Psychic Storm. I have gameplay footage of this up on here. This is a PC Engine game, or Turbo Duo PC Engine Duo game. I got a disc copy of this on accident. The seller was supposed to send me Avenger, but he sent me that case with this disc inside. So I've never had a complete copy, and a guy on eBay was selling these. Now, unfortunately, the back has sun fading damage, which you might not be able to tell because the damage is actually completely uniform. But if you were to look up another version of this on eBay, you would see that it is a darker green, I want to say. You might actually be able to tell there's a faint white, now there's a reflection, there's a faint white line here. Well, the seller actually had multiple copies of this up, and he went ahead and put together all the best bits from his different copies and sold it for $40, which is, here's the thing, people put this game for like $80. I don't know if it ever sells for that much. So $40 is a very fair price. I do wish the back didn't have the damage, but I've been checking for this game, and everyone that has it with no problems wants like $70 to $80, and I wasn't going to pay it, but $40, yeah, and I'll live with that because it being uniform does really help. It comes with the spine card, so I'm just guessing they had the spine card on it, and maybe this to the sun. Or it could just be the ink. I've noticed a few of my games have fading, but it's a uniform fading, so it can't be necessarily from the sun. Real quick, if you've seen a recent video I did, or semi-recent, on the Saturn, it was a demo tour, and in it, this guy has got a sheet of cards, and I was like, man, what are those? Those are little characters from different Saturn games, and I figured out they were phone cards. So of course I had to buy a few. I bought one for Final Fantasy VII, and there was a guy out of the Netherlands that was selling these for dirt cheap. Some of them can go for a lot of money, up to $200. These were all 4 to 6, I'd say. Final Fantasy 6. This is a Logitech camera, and it is unfocused and shows a lot of glare. Here's one for Last Bronx. Manx TT. I was trying to get them for as many as I could for each game I own. I would slide them in the case. Sonic the Hedgehog, which is just, I guess, Sonic 1. They don't have a date on it. And a couple more here. Virtua Fighter 3 TB for the Dreamcast. A cool Bomberman one. And I got 2 Mario ones. A 7-Eleven and this bad boy with the old style, like Mario 1 graphics. Now this one was cut, and so it's got a slice or something on the back. And I sent a message to the guy asking, maybe he sent me the wrong one because he had like tons of these for sale. Because this one's damaged, and he said, "Oh no, sorry. Here, I'll just give you your money back." So with that, I put it towards one of the other items I bought. But I always like when a seller will work with you, because I had bought several of these from him, and that there are some people who are real, about it and give you a hard time. But this, I bookmarked that guy's page, so from now on, I'm going to continually check and see what he has for sale. And that's what happens when you're a seller that does the right thing. He didn't have to give me the full thing, although that only makes sense given the damage, but they're not functional anymore, so it's more for aesthetics. The Genesis, I picked up a copy of Dynamite Headdy. This is Treasure's platformer. I tried to play it. I am garbage at it. It's fun. I'm just not good at it at all. Surprisingly, I had never owned this, Soul Feast for the Sega CD, and I will say this is a really fun shooter. I don't own Soul Feast or Soul Deist, the Genesis version. This was nice because it actually came with the manual. Most of these did not. This was a pack-in game, so a lot of people, I guess, just junked them. Only negative is that the person had taped a code sheet from GamePro, and before they sold it on eBay, they actually ripped this off and stuck it in the manual. Well, it didn't damage the manual any, but as you can see from here, it actually ripped all of the inner lining of the cardboard out. It didn't make any it didn't cause any damage on the front, but I don't know why they did that. I guess to hide it in the photos, but the real thing for this is the manual. These frequently do not come with one. I think this was $10. And first of all, that's just a good price, period. But to get it with the manual, I'll accept this. I also think it's kind of fun. I imagine a 12-year-old going this game is impossible, just ripping this out of GamePro. And you can tell it's GamePro. Actually, it says it right there. But this is their style of art and how they put everything in squares. I thought that was fun. This is actually in the Sega CD right now. I've been enjoying this a lot. Very, very affordable. Like I said, this was about $7, but it never goes for more than 10, or rarely, I should say, goes for more than 10, which is that's not common in the world of shooters, especially one that's as fun as this one. And like I said, I've never played Soul Deist, which is apparently really similar to this, except this one's got better music and it's got animated cutscenes. I finally picked up a copy of Diablo for PlayStation 1. I've had the import for ages. Now, unfortunately, this one did have some damage. It's got these tears near the staple, which was not in the auction photo, and which was very irritating. But for a few of these games, it's actually in the PlayStation. This is Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance for the PS2. Very fun game. But yeah, I kind of gave up on a few eBay auctions and just took some damage on the manual. As you can see there's wear here, and there's little tears by the staples. This was like $50. I don't know. I just got so irritated at one point. I said, fine. The front of the manual is actually not bad. This one in particular is prone to bad scuffing because it's so dark. So you'll see a lot of these with heavy wear on the side. So I just accepted it. Yeah, as a port, it's pretty fun. It's actually in the PlayStation 1 right now. I think I might prefer with a keyboard and mouse, but the big deal about that one is it's 2 players. So if you have a friend and you want some old Diablo action, check it out. And for any fans of 1980s horror, the stuff. A US seller had this for under 10, which I found really surprising. I think it's one of those cases where it's someone over here who just doesn't want it anymore, but it's a sealed copy of Virtua Fighter Kids. I've never owned the import of this. I have it, the import, but it's the Java edition, which was a promo copy for Java T, but I've never owned the original import for this. And yeah, I wasn't gonna pass that up. If someone in the US wants to dump their imports for under 20 bucks, I am your man. This was a novelty I grabbed. Now you'll see one of these on sale for like 90 bucks on eBay. They don't come up a lot, but they're not $90. But this is a demo for Alien Trilogy for the Sega Saturn. I'm gonna do a video on it soon. There's really nothing special to it. It doesn't even have the back. It's just like a single sheet of paper that has the instructions and a disc. But like I said, I'm big into demos. Speaking of which, I grabbed a new Flash Sega Saturn. This has Wachenroder on it. It's actually got a playable demo of is it Astra Superstars, the game that came after Waku Waku 7. I've been wanting to grab these, but when people put them up, they overprice them. Because I was able to get a bundle of these that came with 7 of them for about, with shipping, I think about 18 bucks a year or so ago. And maybe I just got lucky, but since then they come up sporadically and people want like 50 bucks sometimes for these. And I'm not, that's just too much. They're demo discs. Like they're fun. They have videos and playable demos, but let's tone that down. I've worked with this seller before, so he gave me a good price on it. The only thing is, he doesn't always have his stuff on hand, which is tricky. I've always been lucky with him, but yeah, you can easily screw yourself over because he will not give you a refund. He says in the auction, item might not be the item shown. And I've had to message him and say, is that the item? And if he says yes, I buy it. If he says no, I know there's a chance that I might get screwed. So far I haven't. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy from him for much more that way because I know it'll just take one time to infuriate me. For my go-to seller, I grabbed a copy of Dungeons & Dragons for the Saturn. This does not come with the 4-in-1 RAM or the 4 meg RAM cart because I already have that for X-Men vs. Street Fighter. This is a really fun game. I have the port of it for PS3 and 360. They were released digitally, except for the PS3 version got a physical release. Those are very much like Guardian Heroes. A lot of people don't seem to dive into the mechanics of those. They treat them more as simple beat-em-ups. But yeah, you can like roll and parry, block, all sorts of stuff in those. They're actually a lot of fun and pretty in-depth for that kind of genre. Really cheap copy of Final Fantasy VII. I beat this growing up. I had minor foot surgery, and I couldn't do anything for like 2 weeks after school. So my parents asked what I wanted to do, and I had, I think, $20 or $30, so they chipped in the rest. And I got this, and this is all I played after school. I'd do my homework. I'd have to sit in a chair and put some ointment on my feet and rest it. And I just played Final Fantasy VII until I beat the crap out of it. This actually has a misprint on it. It's where is it at? Oh yeah, the word masterpiece. I don't think you'll be able to see it. Nah, but the I is misprinted. So I don't know if that means anything, but I didn't really care. I'm guessing that's an early run thing. Fun game. I know that the remake is coming out at some point, but I haven't played that one since it was released. And because the new version came out, I grabbed Resident Evil 2. I actually never played through this one. I played a demo of it on the PlayStation Underground to death, to the point where when the full and I had it on the Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut. I played the demo of it, and by the time the full version came out, I was so tired of it, I just, I passed on it. Let's see here. Some more PlayStation goodies, speaking of which, let me move some of this out the way. Here is the greatest hits version of Director's Cut. The one I bought ages back was the Dual Case, because that was before the Dual Shock came out. But I've since read that this version has some bad music. I'm not sure what the deal is, but they apparently changed some stuff up. And I've been wanting to play this series. I played this one, Dino Crisis. I rented it ages back, and I got stuck at the last like 20 minutes. The game glitched out, so that something was wrong with the disc. Also picked up Dino Crisis 2 from my go-to seller. Real quick, I grabbed a copy of off of a forum, The Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Seasons. I already had the blue one. What's that one called? Ages. And I needed this one, so I grabbed this bad boy. From and not the seller was pretty good. I did go to one seller, and I'll show that now. Who he took a lot of photos from me, but the game still came in far worse condition than pictured. I'll just show the best one, which the game itself's not a great game. It's Blue Stinger, but this was the one that came in the best condition, which is unfortunate because I bought a few good games from him. But when I opened it, there was like water damage inside the manuals. There was scuff marks all over the it was real disappointing. And like I said, the guy gave me tons of pictures. Anytime I'd ask for photos, he'd send me 4 or 5 more. But when you got it in person, they were just terrible looking. My go-to seller, I got Sonic Adventure 2. I've never played this one. This is another one I kind of just gave up on after finally getting it, and that is Street Fighter 3 Third Strike for the Dreamcast. I love the Xbox 360 port of this. This has minimal scuffing on it, which is rare for this game. However, the staples were rusted, so I did find the right staple size, and I did not realize until I looked for one that there are a lot of staple sizes. I was at work and I found 5 staplers with in 3 different sizes. So one actually fit. So I replaced the rusted manuals with the originals. Well, I mean with new ones. And I know some people frown on that, but what I read is rust spreads. And the only issue is the registration card has a lot of rust on it. But the registration card also stopped rust from spreading to the rest of the manual. So there's rust on the registration card, which when I was trying to take the staples out, just slid right out. And on the first page that connects with the registration card. However, I've read that it is possible to scrape rust off of paper if you're careful enough, so I might do that. But yeah, I don't know. Some eBay sellers caught me when I was so irritated. I let a few things slide I normally wouldn't. I was just ready to let it go. One thing that worked out well is a Dreamcast copy of Under Defeat. And I was surprised how much I enjoyed playing this with the Dreamcast Fight Stick. I grabbed this for $40. This is not the limited edition with like a soundtrack or whatever it is, but still a really good price for this and one of the later Dreamcast releases that I was missing. You'll see why I picked up these in a minute, but I grabbed Ace Combat 6. The case unfortunately broke on its way to me, so this is an old PlayStation 2 case. So I have not played this yet. I've never actually played 6. I am playing through this right now, Ace Combat 0, The Belkin War. This is the prequel to 5. And going by the chronology, I think it goes Belkin War, 5, 4, 2, 7, and 3, I want to say. And 6 is right before 3. I don't know, it's pretty confusing. I kept looking up Ace Combat timelines because I wanted the full series, and that will also explain why I grabbed Ace Combat X Skies of Deception. This was the last. I haven't bought a bundle in ages, and this came with Midway Arcade Treasures, which I don't need, I already have, so that'll be in the pile. But it came with another game I didn't have, which was Armored Core Formula Front Extreme. Now, it was kind of tricky to find this. Most of the copies I found were imports, like Korean or Japanese. There was a seller out of Canada that had it, but it was like $13 shipping, plus they wanted about $25. This whole bundle was less than $15, so I actually got really lucky on that one. On the Switch front, I got a copy of Shantae and the Pirate's Curse from Limited Run. And from another boutique importer, I got Steridon, Binary Stars from Super Rare Game. I had no idea this existed until it had already sold out. So I did pay over the price for this. It sold for $40. I think I paid $60 to $70, but the price has since absolutely skyrocketed on this. It's a shooter. Haven't got to this, and I will say why. That is because I have gone through with my plan to play through Phantasy Star and Shining Force. So with the Switch release of the Genesis Classic, well, initially I purchased Phantasy Star Remake, the M2 remake that came out for the Switch, played through that. Then on the collection, I beat Shining in the Darkness, Phantasy Star 2, Shining Force, Phantasy Star 3, and Shining Force 2. I think that's all of them. The rest I need to play is Shining Force CD and Phantasy Star 4 to play through them. I have played through Shining Force 3 Scenario 1 already, but I'm not really including that in this run because I'm looking at the older games. But yeah, once I get through Shining Force CD and Phantasy Star 4, I'm going to give that a break for a while. I've actually kind of given it a break now. I'm playing through Ace Combat Zero, and I completed Infamous Second Son, and I'm not playing anything on the PS4 yet. I got to pick out something else. But I took a break from doing the Phantasy Star Shining Force back to back with Second Son and Ace Combat Zero. This came in. It was a pre-order. Etrian Odyssey Nexus. Cannot wait to jump into this. To date, I've beat every Etrian Odyssey except for in the original series. I didn't play 2 or 3, but I have beat the remake of 2. Was it Millennium Girl? I beat all those. My friend's game finally came out, so I grabbed a copy of Gunhouse. I'm actually not good at all on this, and I told him that. I said, man, you've got to tell me what to do because this is not going well. And with it, I picked up the soundtrack from Limited Run on cassette. It's by Disasterpeace, and if you don't recognize the name, he did the It Follows soundtrack, which is one of my favorite soundtracks, and I listen to it every Halloween. It is fantastic, and I'm pumped he actually got him to do the soundtrack. Now for, let's see, for PlayStation 4, but first there was one more limited release I got in. Had I known it was going to be so big, I would have passed. But I didn't know. That is Sayonara Umihara Kawase, something like that. This is a puzzle platformer for the Vita, and it said, oh, it was a limited edition, comes with a few extras. I thought, oh, that'd be fun. It's a fun series. It's hard, but I enjoy it. And then this giant box came in. Space is really at a premium now. Had I known it was this big, I would have gone with the standard release. But what are you going to do? I also ordered, the company sells metal plate artwork, so I got one. With the game itself, they sent this, which was just like a little art sheet. It's saying a new Umihara will release on the Switch in the spring. So it's just a little art ad. But this is the metal plate. These are really neat, and these will sell out fast. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but yeah, whenever these go up, their standard editions tend to stay for a long time, but these metal art pieces will sell out in a few minutes. And this is Strictly Limited Games. This is from Strictly Limited. Like I said, Space is at a premium, and that is just way bigger than I expected. And for the PS4, now, a lot of these were Amazon buys for cheap. Amazon's been having price fluctuations, and I'm watching like a damn hawk. So I picked up Resident Evil Biohazard Gold Edition. I've never played this, not even the demo. And it was $25, I want to say. It was pretty cheap. And it has does it have all the DLC on the disc? Is that why I got it? I think so. But it was the all-in-one collection. This dropped to 20, but has since gone up to 30 to 40. 428 Shibuya Scramble. Now, again, if you actually haven't put this up yet, on that Saturn demo video, the first disc of it is the first release of this game. It's a detective series with full motion video. Normally not my thing, but this is put out by Spike Chunsoft, and it's such a long-running series that when I put the video up, I played it for like, the video is not like half an hour, but I played for about half an hour. No idea what's going on, but you interact with different people at different times, and you have the different cutscene sequences. So I thought that'd be pretty fun. It's the only one that's in English, and I thought it'd be interesting to try it out. Of course, I pre-ordered and got in Resident Evil 2. Haven't played this yet. This was it said Prime member only thing, but I'm pretty sure it's for everyone. But Divinity 2 Original Sin, I have beat the first one on PS4, so I'm hoping I can import my characters. This has also got really good reviews. I absolutely loved the first one, even though I had to look up a walkthrough because I got stuck on some of the later portions. Although speaking of walkthroughs, my God, I've had to use those on on Fantasy Star 1 through 3. Now I know they came with guides. I've never actually owned the guide, so I don't know what it showed, but what is happening in those games? It is so easy to get lost, and the dungeons in 2 use so many teleporters, and the encounter rate is unbelievably high, especially in Fantasy Star 3. If I have to hear that shrilling battle music one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. It just sounds like metal scraping. Whoever did Fantasy Star 3's got a lot of really cool things about it. And I'm going to echo pretty much every review written about this game. It's got some really cool things about it. That you play as your son and then you play as your grandson. It's got a nice sci-fi setting, but set in like a medieval world. It's got enemies reminiscent of the Shin Megami series. Like you'll fight just a giant humanoid creature that has a scimitar. One enemy is an automatic stop sign and like green light setup. It's forks off to a stop sign and a light system. Just bizarre enemies, but the combat is so grueling. Every 3 feet you have to fight. It's to the point, and this goes for 2 as well in particular. I would forget what I was doing because I had to fight so much. It was oh, I was so glad when I beat that game. I'm never touching it again. I'm glad I got through it, but good lord, those guides are essential. RPGclassics.com, their shrine category or section. Go there. Just don't bother trying to figure it out. Even when you talk to every person in town, something that'll happen 2 hours earlier will come back to mean something, which you've now fought 1,000 battles, so you have no clue. Oh, there's a bush 30 screens up, 4 to the right, you're supposed to burn. Like it's not going to be in your memory anymore. Like there's no log or anything to go through old dialogue. Man, those were grueling. They're definitely 16-bit RPGs with like 8-bit RPG sensibilities. At the time, as a kid, I might have had the patience to go through it. I don't think I would have, though. I think I would have just given it up and when GameFAQ came around, read through a walkthrough. Picked up a copy of Everspace. I had this on the Xbox. It's a really fun kind of freelancer style space action game. Not a lot of those are made anymore, so I definitely wanted to grab it. This dropped to $20, so I picked up Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Unfortunately, this is only the second time, including the last generation and this one, that I've got a second printing of a game. The first was Horizon Zero Dawn. It had just no gameplay differences, but a really garish cover with all the awards. The difference here is this says over 35 E3 awards, but it does not have the banner here saying free DLC. If you were to have gotten the launch version, you would get, I think it's a new quest or something, but this actually does not come with it. So a little bummed about that, but the price dropped to $19.99. So I've been wanting to play this after playing Odyssey or Origins. I tried to get the Steelbook, but I don't know why Origins Steelbook went to 40 that time, but Odyssey's never dropped. The lowest it got was 79, and I thought, okay, it's going to go to 40, and then it shot right back up, and it's just been hovering at 89. This is, I'm gonna say Death Tiny. This is a shooter that is on the PS3 and 360. I forgot the English name. It's a cave shooter. I am not seeing in English anywhere, and I don't want to mess it up. Can't believe I forgot it. But they re-released it for the PS4, so I grabbed it. Let's just say Death Tiny. It's not that. It's something with a K. Really fun horizontal scrolling shooter. This came in a bunch of different editions overseas. I just got the art book, was it? Most places got the art book, but like Amazon sent you this cardboard box, which Cave's PCB boards would come in. You got that. Another place gave away arcade marquees. You couldn't put them anywhere, it's just to have. But most people got this kind of art design book, and I got that. It's in the closet. I got that from Solaris Japan. They still had those in stock. They said they had a few more books left when I bought it. And finally, I played through Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown, and that's why I went and got the other Ace Combat games, because this really got me hankering for those. I love the series, and it's been ages since I played. I played 4 about 2 years ago, and it's been a while since I played anything else since. or I haven't really played any since. I played 5 a little after that, but this came with a digital copy of 5 if you pre-ordered it, so I have that on the PS4. I'm going to go play through after I play through 0. What else can you say? It's a great game. Got the kind of a weird storyline, overly dramatic. It's what I love about it. It's what 4 was, and the writer came back for this one, so I was super excited. I've had a chance to play it in VR, and it is awesome. At first, the VR headset was only tracking the full TV screen, so it's just like I had a TV an inch from my eyes. And I was like, this isn't good at all. Shin Muso has lied to me. Ben, what? And then someone recalibrated the camera, and suddenly it clicked, and you could look all around the cockpit. And what's fun is when you fly into a cloud in this, condensation forms on the windshield, and you can look up and follow the droplets as they go up and over you in VR. There's only 3 VR missions though, which sucks, but I guess they had to make them specially for the headset. But as the game itself, there's so many fun little novelty things like flying through a canyon during a lightning storm. If lightning strikes your ship, your radar goes out. They do two things that are nice: checkpoints, and one is they automatically give you 2 missiles if you run out. So once you run out, every few seconds you get 2 for free, which might seem cheap coming from the previous games, which didn't do that, and you just had to use your gun. But I really appreciate it because it made the missions go by faster. And yeah, there's some great looking levels in this. But people are right, the reviews. The ground textures look like something from the PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 2. Like the ground textures aren't impressive at all. But if you stay in the sky, oh man, it's a gorgeous game. But playing Ace Combat 0 still looks really good. It's got a really cool mechanic. If you kill non-combatants, like if you shoot oil tankers or troop convoys that you don't need to, the gameplay changes, like the style changes. You become known as a mercenary. The cutscenes change with these cheesy actors and dialogue, but that shifts if you're more of a cutthroat than if you're someone who tries to play by the rules. But same thing. It still looks really good, but the ground textures are so rough. I'm not going to say looks like a PS2 game, but the ground textures are noticeably inferior to the plane models and everything else. But it's still an awesome game. So glad. If they end the series now, they ended it on a high note. I'm glad. I didn't think we were going to get another one. Namco's really been knocking it out of the park lately with this. Soul Calibur, was it 6? Tekken 7. Like, they've been doing a great job. So, yeah, definitely grab this if you're interested. That's it, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to everyone later.